Alright, what's going on guys, Mo here, and today I wanted to make a video on my classes, on my settings for Warzone slash Modern Warfare Season 5. Now you guys know, if you guys come out to my live streams, that I have been tweaking my settings and my sensitivity and all that stuff a lot during Season 5. And you guys know that I've been tweaking my class setups and all that stuff for Season 5. Now, a lot of people in my live streams were asking me, am I ever going to do a setup video or anything along those lines? And my response was I wanted to wait until Season 5 was out for a few days in case they made any weapon balances or any weapon tunings, so then my video didn't become basically useless. So, the main reason you probably clicked on this video is you want to see what classes and what guns am I still using in Season 5, because you guys know I have close to 250 wins, I have a lot of kills, and I always have like kind of unique classes, and people were like, why are you using this certain item or why are you using that certain item, and I just want to basically go into everything and show you guys my classes. So when we go to custom classes here, everything is kinda similar. I have an SMG class, an AR class, another AR class, the godforsaken Bruen, infinity word please nerf, my HDR, which everybody in my stream always asks me what is my HDR setup. We have a Card K setup because a lot of people ask me what my Card K setup is. And finally, we have a shotgun build that I have been using so much recently, and it's so much fun. So we're going to take it off on the very first class setup, and this is my SMG build. Now, when we click on the SMG build, the secondary weapon doesn't really matter, because if I'm picking up an SMG, I usually am comfortable with my primary weapon, and this is going to be like sort of like a backup build. These perks are standard, they never change no matter what. Alright, these never change no matter what. Cold-blooded, Ghost, and Amped are, in my opinion, perfect for Battle Royale. There is one class that I have a little bit different perks, but we're going to get into that later, and I'm going to give you my reasons on why it's different. For lethals and tacticals, you pretty much always want a heartbeat sensor. It's just crazy good for solos, even duos and squads. In duos and squads and stuff like that, in them modes where you have teammates, people feel more comfortable running overkill, so the heartbeat sensor is going to be even more useful in those game modes. So yeah, I would recommend using that. And for your lethal, you could get away with a Claymore or a C4 or a proximity main. It's personal preference, really. I just have a proximity main on because it's just something different, really. But now we're going to get into the SMG, because all this stuff, you're not going to have to worry about what perks I'm running, what lethal equipment, what my secondary. You're not going to have to worry about that in the next classes below. So now we're going to go into my SMG. Now this SMG is specifically built for Warzone, not multiplayer. So we have the monolithic suppressor for that damage range and that muzzle velocity. We have the SSS recon for that damage range, muzzle velocity, and that extra recoil control. We have the 1 milliwatt laser because hip firing on Modern Warfare is actually so broken. You could swap this out for maybe a stipple grip tape, but I think the 1 milliwatt laser is perfect. Commando foregrip because it makes the gun an absolute laser, and you can kind of use it as a kind of like an AR SMG hybrid, and I think the MP7 is the best SMG for Warzone if you're pairing it with a sniper rifle, because then you get that medium range and you get that close range. And then to top it all off, it wouldn't be a Warzone setup without the goddamn 60 round mag, because you know, spray and pray, you know. So that's the SMG setup, and like I said, I'm usually comfortable picking this up, and I only really pick this up when I'm comfortable with my primary weapon, so I don't really worry about the secondary weapon. For my M13, I get a lot of questions on my M13. What's my M13 setup? Here it is: monolithic suppressor, the biggest barrel, the commando foregrip, the 60 round mag, and instead of using a stipple grip tape or maybe a different stock or whatever, I use a GI Mini Reflex because number one, I really like this sight. I think the GI Mini Reflex is absolutely perfect for the M13. Plus, it's also my personal favorite out of the reflex sights. And I feel like with the iron sights for this gun, it's very obstructed and you can't really see what you're shooting at. Especially if you're ADS and you're trying to swap between different targets, it's really difficult with the iron sights. Also, tracking moving targets is really difficult with the M13 iron sights. Would not recommend the iron sights for that. On the other hand, here's the M4. Now we got the monolithic suppressor, we've got the M16 Grenadier barrel, we've got the commando foregrip, the 60 round mag, and the only thing that's changed here from the M13 is the stippled grip tape. Because if you guys are using the regular, and I mean the regular base M4A1. As you can see, I have a bunch of different skins for my M4A1, but every single one of them changed the iron sights. And the M4 iron sights are so incredibly clean. It's like literally a little circle. It's so clean and you can really map people at long range. And I say definitely give this a go. So like I said, we swapped out the reflex sight for the stipple grip tape, and that lets us get that little bit of sprint to fire, a little bit of ADS at the cost of aim and stability. But we make up for the aim stability in the commando foregrip. So, you know, it sort of balances it out, you know. So here we get the Bruen. If you're looking for a gun that is the most broken gun in the game, defends all weapon balance whatsoever, and literally breaks armor in 2 bullets, then this is the, well, not literally 2 bullets, but it feels like it. This is going to be the gun you're going to want to run. The Bruen MK9, when we take out the attachments, this is what everybody in the game is running, alright? The mono suppressor for that muzzle velocity and damage range. By the way, I know I said muzzle velocity on the monolithic suppressor, but it is actually a hidden trait to the monolithic suppressor. It doesn't say that it increases muzzle velocity, but it actually does, which is really stupid. The ARC Summit 26.8-inch barrel for the muzzle velocity and the recoil control, not so much the damage range because the gun already packs a punch. Tac laser, because the aim and stability, the aim walking steadiness, and the aim down sight speed are insane, and I mean insane for this weapon. And even though the cons are visible to enemies, this gun literally deletes people in a second, so it doesn't even matter. 60 round mag, because look at the benefits. ADS speed, sprint to fire speed, movement speed, and detachable magazine. What detachable magazine means is it's basically just faster reloads, and the only downside is the ammo capacity. But at the same time, 60 round mag is still a lot, and it has like a similar reload speed to like an M13 or an M4. It's insane. And here we have the VLK 3x optic. This thing is honestly so broken because this is one of the only sights in the game that actually gives you more recoil stabilization, hence why we don't have a foregrip. I mean, the gun doesn't need a foregrip in the first place, but that's another reason why we don't have a underbarrel for this weapon. Like I said, perks, lethals, all the same. Here is my HDR setup. Now, you guys know that I just peel wigs with the HDR, 400 meters out, 300 meters out, I just nail headshots 24/7. So we're going to go on to this monolithic suppressor, like I said, for the muzzle velocity. 26.9-inch barrel for the muzzle velocity. Your damage range doesn't really matter when it comes to a sniper rifle, because if you get a one shot, one kill to the head, your damage range effectively doesn't matter. This is one of the things that I get asked so much is what scope are you using, why are you using that scope, and this is the reason. So if we look at the Cronin, this is the Cronin C40 Pro optic. Here it is. You get increased aim down sight speed, and the cons is it's not as magnified as the normal scope. The reason I use this scope is because enemies cannot see the scope glint. So if you're having a sniper battle with another sniper, or if you're sniping at someone, they'll usually leave themselves open, and they're basically just trying to look for your scope glint, so then they could scope in, acquire you, and know exactly where you are. With the Cronin, you can pop a shot at a sniper, relocate, and then pop another shot, and then relocate, and the guy won't have a clue where you are. And usually what'll happen, and I do this as well, I'm gonna be honest, is if I'm getting sniped at, I'll usually just stand still, or not stand still, I'll usually put myself in the open and sort of move left and right and try to see the scope glint. But if you don't have a scope glint, you can literally get the freest shots on people that are looking for the scope glint. So that is why I use the C40 Pro Optic. And you're probably wondering yourself, why do you not use the VLK or the Scout? This one is the most magnified optic, so you can use it at those longer ranges and still keep the scope glint hidden. For secondary weapon, like I said, I always have an SMG. But if you guys land on your loadout, a secondary weapon is nice to have. So here it is. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I think it's not really that useful. But here it is if you want to grab it. So, moving on to the Carnini AK. This one is a lot different from my HDR. This is a more run and gun sniper. You have the monolithic suppressor for muzzle velocity, biggest barrel muzzle velocity. Now these two attachments are going to be different. So I use a sniper scope because I would use sights like the Cronin C40 Pro, but for some reason on this gun you actually can't hold your breath. So if you can't hold your breath, shooting targets at range is going to be really tricky, and that's why I just put the sniper scope on. You know, optic glint is available or is visible to enemies, but that's okay. Honestly, like the Carnini AK is so quick, you can pop out, take a pop shot, back in again, and this gun in my opinion is perfect for duos and squads, because if you can get a knock on an enemy before you start a fight, this is honestly perfect. Because you have the scope glint, you might as well put on the tac laser because the benefits are insane, and this is going to be a more running gun, so you're not going to really worry about stealth. And then fully loaded, which I also have on my HDR. I didn't talk about it on my HDR because I was going to talk about it here. I love having fully loaded on my sniper rifles because sometimes sniper ammo is really difficult to come across. You might not feel like it is, but when you have fully loaded on, you don't have to worry about finding ammo. And if you land on your loadout after respawning from the gulag, your pistol will already have some bullets in it, and you'll have full sniper ammo, and it'll just be a great time. Moving on to the last class, and this is the troll one. Alright, this is if I'm trying to camp in a building, if I'm trying to do some extreme camping or to piss people off, this is the setup that I use. Origin 12 shotgun, monolithic suppressor. I was using the choke, but I think the monolithic suppressor is just more annoying to die by on a shotgun. The forged tac impaler, you get that damage range and tighter pellet spread. 12 round mag, because 25 round mag is honestly way too slow in terms of your movement speed. If you're trying to walk towards someone and constantly spray them with shotgun shells, you're not going to need a 25 round clip to kill them, you know what I mean, especially for duos and stuff. 1 milliwatt laser, because I don't want the enemies to see the laser, and you get that sprint to fire speed as well. No stock, because the movement speed, like I said, if you're gonna be always moving with this gun, and you're not gonna be aiming as much, so your movement speed really is gonna help, which is why we don't want the 25 round drum. I know the 12 round mag does hurt your movement speed a little bit, but it's not by much, honestly. You want RPG secondary, because that's annoying to die to. Like I said, this class is for pissing people off, right? You want EOD because people are going to know that you're in a building with heartbeat sensors. They're going to throw nades in. They're going to throw C4s in. You're going to want EOD. Restock, because you got to have unlimited claymores, because that's annoying. Double stack them and insta down someone. So funny. And then amped, just to swap weapons faster, reload your RPG faster, and you're going to be able to plant those claymores and throw those stuns just a little bit faster. So yeah, that's all my classes that I use for Warzone. The rest are just experimental classes for multiplayer. And with that said, we're going to go on to my settings for this video. So, taking off the settings, almost all my settings are completely default. Alright, so my button layout is tactical. Alright, my dead zone is 7. Stick layout default, inverted loop disabled, dead zone 7. Sensitivity 3.3. I'm pretty sure 3.3 is default. So if it's not, then I don't. It's 3-3. My ADS sense, my ADS sense was 0.75, but I turned it up to 1.1, and I think my aim is getting a little bit more consistent. Aim response curve, standard. Vibration, disabled. Aim assist, standard. Weapon mount, ADS and melee. Let's see. Aim down, chase behavior, hold. Use/reload behavior. I play contextual top because of Warzone. Alright, this is the most important thing for Warzone, and 9 times out of 10 you guys have this already on. Slide behavior, a lot of pros will tell you to use top to slide, but I actually use hold to slide because playing different Call of Duties in different games, this is going to fuck up your muscle memory so much, and keeping it hold will keep your muscle memory and your movement very consistent among different games. Automatic sprint, people use auto attack sprint, I use disabled. Auto attack sprint will fuck you up with shotguns and hip firing with an SMG. I like to have full control over my movement, and I like it disabled. Auto parachute auto deploy. So having this disabled lets you actually free for all very low to the ground before you open your parachute, instead of your parachute opening it up before you hit the floor. This gives you more control over your parachute, so you definitely want this to be on. Make sure that you press X or A on Xbox or spacebar on PC to open up your goddamn parachute, or you will faceplant the floor. And for general settings, film grain off. I keep subtitles off because I hate it popping up on screen. And my world and weapon motion blur are both disabled, because like, look at the picture on the right. If I'm moving really fast, or just moving at all, for that matter, a target could be in that window, and I'll have no idea he's there. Keep the visibility clear, keep the game consistent, and that's the only way you can improve. Basically, is if everything's consistent, get everything down to a muscle memory, you know. HUD. This might be a stupid one. It might look stupid, but having a square minimap, as you can see on the left side with the circle one compared to the right side that has the square one, you can actually see just a little bit more, which makes those UAVs on multiplayer and on Warzone that little bit more valuable, because you can see a lot more in your surroundings. Same as enemy gunfire. If someone's in a building on Warzone that's just out of your reach, you might be able to actually see it just a little bit better. Minimap rotation, I keep this enabled because you can actually sometimes angle your camera to make your minimap a little bit larger again. So yeah, definitely have this enabled. Compass direction, ladders or whatever, I don't even know what that is. And yeah, that's everything when it comes to that. Audio, I keep 25 master volume on boost high. Boost high, I feel like I can hear footsteps the most consistent for multiplayer. For Warzone, footsteps don't really work, I'm gonna be honest. 25 master volume because my Astro mix amp is at full volume. Yours is probably low, but your in-game sound is high. That's perfectly fine. And that's everything when it comes to my settings and my class setups for Season 5 in Warzone. If this video has helped you in any way, shape or form, please smash that like button. And if you're one of the 2 people who made it to the end of this video, just comment. What do I have here? I have a can of Monster Energy that isn't even opened, so just comment the word Monster if you've made it to the very end of this video, and I'll know who the proper OGs are of this video. Alright boys, appreciate you stopping by the video. Have a good one. Peace.